Hey everybody. I often have people ask me the question, what do I do at the start of a project? And of course the answer is, well, it depends on what the project's about. What I put together in this lesson is just some information about what kind of information do you need to look for based on the kind of project you're working on. So what I've done is I've made some categories of projects, and I said, okay, for this category of project, typically the information you need is this kind of information. And then I've given some examples of actual projects so you can see how that applies in context in a real project. Now, this is guidelines, so I don't want you to take this and say, Jerry said this is the only information that I need for this project. No. So what I've given you is some guidelines, a starting point, a way to think about your project. Any particular project, you may find other things that you need to know. Plus, all I'm putting here is the starting point. I'm not giving you every kind of requirement you're ever going to need on that project, because for a lot of projects you're going to need every kind of requirement over time. But what I want to give you is where to start. What's the important information that you need to start with to get the project going, and as you work on the project you're going to find the additional information that you need to collect. Okay, so with that caveat, I want to show you some sample projects, and here I put a little table of contents so you can see what's in here. I've categorized the projects three different ways. Corporate internal projects, so that's your typical IT kind of project. Creating a product for sale. We're going to look at things in a little different way when we're creating products that we're going to sell to someone else than if we're doing a project inside the company. And then the third category I made was business process projects, because again those are going to look pretty different from the other two. And then under each category I have several different kinds of projects. So under corporate internal we're going to look at maintaining existing software, installing third-party software, updating third-party software, and creating new software. If we're creating a product for sale, we'll look at maintaining an existing product, creating a new product in an existing line of business, and creating all new software. And then finally, under business process projects, we have write the business processes for a new company, change or add a business goal or corporate direction, and update a business process. So again, these aren't every possible kind of project you could ever be involved with, but I think it gives a nice overview of pretty typical projects that we're involved with as business analysts. Oh, this is a fun one. Update third-party software. So this can actually be a really big deal for an IT department, especially if you've written customizations or you've written integrations between the third-party software and your systems. And now this other company has come up with an update. Okay, this is often something that is debated for quite a long time in a company. When should we do it? Because it can have a very big impact. So what are we going to investigate? Now that we know we're going to do the project, what do we need to know? What is the impact on the current installation of the software, including the systems and databases it integrates with, reports it generates, and customizations that we've created? Who will use the new features or functions? How will they use the new features or functions? And how will the changes impact the business? Now again, you may not have to answer all of these questions for every project of this type, but these are good questions to ask. What you're going to find in this kind of project is it tends to be very technical in the requirements. You tend to not have as much in the way of business rules or business processes, but it tends to be very technical requirements. You may find yourself, if you're not a system analyst, if you don't have the technical background, you may find on this kind of project that you really need to work with somebody who knows the technology, who knows how to read code, because you may have to look through code to figure out what some of the changes need to be. So, in this example, a company has purchased a loan processing system, and this software has customizations and integrations. The updates that were just released fix a lot of bugs. Yay! You need to know if our company put workarounds in the business processes or code because of those bugs. So what we find a lot of times is when software has a bug in it, people figure out ways to work around it. They figure out ways to overcome the problems in the software. If that bug has now been fixed, we need to stop doing the things that we were doing to get around the bug. So part of what we need to find out here with the bug fixes is, what have we done in the past because they were bugs? And then we need to be able to communicate this to people if we've made changes in business processes because of the bugs, or it might be that just we have to update code because maybe we had to do something strange in a customization or an interface in order to work around a bug. So we need to find that information. Our requirement type here might be some business processes that need to change. Might just be a list of them. If they're not documented, you might have to document the business processes in order to find out, what needs to change. You may have a list of reports that need to change, or you might have a list of customizations that need to change, which would be code. So here, we may have to look at code to find out what we did in the past because there were bugs in the software, and what we have to change because the bugs no longer exist. The company also made changes to the API, which is the programmatic interface to their software, and that's what you use to integrate third-party software with your systems. So since they made changes to it, we need to review and maybe rewrite integrations with our systems. So you need to know which of our systems the third-party software is integrated with and which ones need to change. And you may need to, again, work with a system analyst to get this information. We might be integrating the third-party software with databases, with other software. So we need to know what those are so that we can discover if there's a problem, if it needs to be changed. And then your requirement type might be a list of code units that need to change. We need to change this customization. We need to change this report. We need to change this integration. Okay, now in this new release, there are new data fields available that the auditing teams once included in their auditing reports. And so we're going to need to update those reports. So now we need to know, this is more of a business orientation, yay. We need to know who needs the changes, which reports are impacted, and what it is about those reports that need to change. And so our requirement type here is probably report specifications and possibly some business rules. What else? Some of the new features implement things we had previously written as customizations. So now we're going to have to review the new features and decide if we can retire or get rid of our customizations. One of the changes that this company has made is a new business rules engine. So instead of hard coding business rules as we've done before, we're going to remove that code and put the new rules, or put the rules into the new business rules engine. Okay, so I need a list of the new features, and I need a list of the current customizations, or I need to work with the system analyst to get the information. I need to investigate the impact of removing those customizations on human users, the impact on interfaces with systems, the impact on generating reports. My requirement type is going to be a list of the customizations we're going to retire, and any of the other things that may need to change because of retiring the customizations. And you know what I didn't put in here is also you will need a list of the business rules, because we're going to put them in the business rules engine, so we need to know what they are. So we're going to need that list of business rules. We need a list of the business rules that are being removed from the code. Okay, so that will be another thing that you will need. What else? This update has been released as a new code base, so it's not a patch, it's a whole system. So we're going to have to copy and recompile our customizations and integrations into the new system and test everything. So, we've already been looking at the customizations and integrations. Well, we're going to need to have the whole list of all the customizations and integrations so that we have a list of all those code units. And then finally, there was a claim in this project that there's no impact on the human users of the system or the business processes of the company. You need to verify that this is true. It probably isn't. So probably there will be an impact on the human users, probably there will be an impact on the business processes, and so therefore we will have to update the business processes and notify the users, possibly retraining them on the changes to the software. So, I made this example pretty big, but it is not uncommon for changes or updates to third-party software to be a very big project for a major company. A lot of these systems are quite large, the updates are quite large, and you will find that there's a huge impact and a very large project in order to do an upgrade. And this is why a lot of times companies hesitate to do upgrades to especially large software systems, because of all these things you need to look for, because of all the impacts on the company. Thank you for listening.